The Nerd Informer podcast, hosted by Ian Harrowling and Tyler Johnson. An informative look at the world around us and expert discussions on some of the world's greatest mysteries. Tune in Wednesdays at 7 p.m., only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. The Mystic Whispers podcast, hosted by the psychic seer herself, Nicole Gaspard. Each week, Nicole shares her experiences and views, as well as interviews guests. Tune in Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network.
Welcome into another exciting episode of Pete vs. Anxiety, the mental health podcast breaking the stigma that mental health needs to be talked about some more. Today is Christopher.
Hello, folks. Glad to be here. Glad to see where this leads us all.
Of course, that's the great thing about this podcast is it's going to take us wherever we want it to go. So, Christopher, why don't you tell everybody why did you want to come on today?
What really resonated with me and led me to come on today was the mental health aspect of the podcast and my own lived experiences with mental health in hopes to going through their own journey.
And yeah, Chris, that's the great thing about this podcast is that we are focused on creating a space where everyone can talk about mental health because I feel like it's not talked about enough. And everybody I talked to has said the same exact thing. They were like, hey, you're right. There's no space for us to talk about these kind of things.
Especially among the male population, which makes me even more so want to get my story out there and support others.
Of course, and exactly, because the whole thing with the male persona is that we're supposed to be this alpha male macho who can't show any kind of emotion, because if we do, we're considered weak.
When in fact, that is exactly what that is, a persona. That's actually the furthest from reality.
When your guest sheet, you say you label yourself the super advocate. Do you want to explain to everybody why that is?
Yes, I've been through a lot of trauma and adversity, from abuse from individuals to abuse by systems and entities and those in authority too, who are meant to help me. So with all that abuse and trauma, I've had to kind of learn for myself, to fight for myself, to be my own advocate. And advocating for others professionally in the past and present led me to coin the hashtag super advocate. And that was born through an advocate I had once who pushed me to be my own advocate when she easily could have done things for me. So for that, I'm very grateful.
That's awesome. Who was the person that pushed you, though? Can you tell us a little more about him or her? I'm sorry.
Yes, you're fine. She was an advocate / counselor for folks who were going through abusive situations, and she was one of the first people I would say that I've had in that phase of my life, if not my whole life, who really saw me for what I could bring to the table and saw my potential and saw me as the individual who I am, as opposed to viewing me by labels or by just how I can be perceived at times.
Yeah, I get that completely, because a lot of people do a lot of too many judgments based on looks. They don't give people, a chance to say what they're going to say. They always judge what do they say? A book by their cover, basically.
Exactly. And I've been put in that stereotypical box way too many times by people who are meant to help me and in a position to help me. And not having that with this advocate just really started me on a really good path.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I also know you listed working for a nonprofit organization. Do you want to tell everybody a little more about that one too?
Yes, I'm delighted to. I have my own nonprofit called From Victim to Victor, and we are established to support victims of crime and service providers through philanthropy, education, and advocacy. We're still in our infancy since I haven't really started pushing it until very recently. But the hopes are to a few things actually to be able to support others with resources and financially, as well as providing direct support and advocacy, and just being able to just get stuff out there on the web to demystify myths, break stigmas, and bring hope to others.
That's awesome, man. And that's the same thing we're trying to achieve here, actually, because that's what I feel. I feel like we need to have a safe space where everybody can come together, support each other, do everything basically what you're trying to do, except for, I'm trying to hit everybody, and I'm sure you're trying to do the same exact thing I am too.
I am, but just with a bit of more, but with more of a nest.
Oh, of course, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, and I 100% support this cause, honestly, and I'll be posting it in the link to this recorded episode, so you guys can find Chris's organization, because we need to make sure that people get the word out there about what he's trying to do and what we're trying to do as well. So this is going to be a unified force between the two of us alone.
Then that within itself is just powerful and just speaks to how the collective unity of two forces can really make an.
That's really powerful. I like how you put that there too, because that's fantastic. Because it's two forces joining together, kind of like the Justice League or the Avengers. We're literally trying to just get the message out there that it's okay. You're not alone. There's somebody that can help you somewhere, somehow, and we're just trying to get you the information to get that help. That way, you're not feel alone, or you can, Chris's situation where somebody's bullying on you, you need somebody to back you up. We're here. We got you. That's the whole point of this thing. That's a great thing about this movement we're trying to start.
And if any of you reach out to me and I can't help you personally, I will definitely find somebody who can or a resource that can. That's just how I operate. Like, I'm not gonna leave somebody hanging just because I'm not the person best suited to assist them.
I love that, man. I really do. Guys, I'm the same way too. I'm pretty much open book. You guys reach out to me, need something. If I can't help you, we'll find somebody, because I've been networking through this whole podcast so far. I'm sure we can find somebody that can help you out somewhere down the road.
Between you and I, Pete, I'm sure we can definitely connect those who need help.
Oh, definitely, man, for sure. That's a great thing about this whole thing. I've been trying to network with the different people and different organizations and stuff like that. That way, we have one powerful message as a unified force rather than several entities, like we were talking about doing.
Yeah, like there can be multiple entities plus some, but if there's not folks there to help with the connecting, the linkages, then the cause is sometimes lost, especially when somebody is in a state of vulnerability where they don't have the capacity to resource for themselves.
And when you say vulnerability, that's really good. Really good, kind of like keyword, because a lot of people feel vulnerable. They're like, well, I don't know what to do in this situation. I feel alone. I don't have anybody I can reach out to. And that's exactly what we're pushing here, guys. Um, Chris, do you want to go ahead and tell me about your mental health journey, so everybody gets a little bit of understanding what you had to deal with prior?
Yes, that would be my honor. I would say it started when I was quite young. I'm not exactly sure how young, but I would say that my complex PTSD, though, started most likely around 12, 13, due to some like personal living arrangements I had and some struggles with folks I was dealing with, which involved much abuse, not just personally, but also witnessed. So I felt like I had to be the adult when I wasn't, and I felt like I had to basically parent and protect the adults in my environment, and that was not easy. It was very rough, but I would say fortunate because it gave me a perspective that I have now, where I can look back and say, "Hey, this wasn't easy, but it led to me being the super advocate that I am." As I got older, abuse continued and was at its peak when I was in my young adulthood. But my mental health really became a struggle in the midst of COVID, ironically. I didn't have access to getting over the medications I was on renewed. I ended up doing something that I would never recommend. It was very risky. I stopped all of my psych meds cold turkey. Luckily, I wasn't too scathed, but I did end up having really bad intrusive thoughts that I knew I wouldn't act on them, but I couldn't trust myself to. So that dichotomy being so scary and foreign led to me voluntarily admitting myself for my first psychiatric admission, then numerous suicide attempts via overdose, and a couple of self-harm instances that led to numerous other hospitalizations, voluntary and involuntary. And now I'm at the point where I'm much more stable thanks to ketamine and the ketamine infusions that I've been receiving, which has really been a life changer for me.
It sounds like it, man, and that's great because a lot of those medicines, I think that's like the go-to of the older generation. They're all like, "Okay, quick, something's wrong, got to put you on medication," and people don't realize the side effects of some of this stuff. They're like, guys, listen to some of these commercials about what they say about the side effects. Like there was one about an antipsychotic where it was like, some side effects are you hear voices that aren't there, da 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 da, and just kept going. I'm like, wait, if you're not supposed to hear the voices that are there or the medicine's supposed to help, then how is that helping me?
It's
And, and,
not.
and it's it's not, man. It really isn't. Sorry to mean to cut you off there.
You're fine.
But you know what I'm saying? Like it's just insane. It's like let's look at the side effects of half these drugs out here, and it's insane. Like I have anxiety myself, so like I tried some of these anxiety medicines, but the problem was is I took one, I felt like I was having a heart attack because my heart was racing so fast. I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's what it's supposed to be doing right now.
I withdrew from Klonopin a few years back,
Yeah.
and when I was taking it more consistently for one of my conditions, and that was freaking brutal. I had like severe panic attack for like I think it was like a few days straight, nonstop.
That's insane, man. I had one, and let me tell you, it was horrible. The best way to describe it to people is as if you've ever seen the movie Get Out. The end of the movie, there the guy is sitting in the chair. He's looking up, okay, and he's in a dark room. So you're in a dark hole, looking straight up. It's like you can see what's going on, but you can't stop it.
Yeah, that goes back to vulnerability and just
Really.
needing, yeah, big time. And I would add to that, like in those moments, that's when we need support of others. And if we don't seek support and if we're not vulnerable, that's when things can end up going down a much more sour lane than.
Yeah, I get that completely. So, Chris, why don't you tell us about how you went from victim to victor? Sorry, correction.
That starts with my current mentality that there are no victims, that we are all survivors, even if we are going through more like victimizing circumstances. So what led me on the leap from victim to victor was definitely that advocate who I mentioned, and getting my own apartment away from the individual that was being abusive to me. And that allowed me to start thinking for myself, start being the master of my own decisions and mind and emotions, since I was didn't have other people living with me to have that influence over me who were abusive individuals. And I would also add that a lot of inner self work, many therapists, Like I think I just landed on one who's a keeper, but
Yeah,
I've
yeah, I
probably
get that.
seen like 10, 15 therapists over the past couple of years. A lot of them just weren't willing to work with me. Some I did what I consider divorcing them, and just I needed to get more stable, which the ketamine helped with, and that allows me to now dig into issues and get the support I need. And I hope that wasn't too sporadic or unclear for you and the listeners.
Oh no, you're good, man. Like I said, I like how you said you went to like 15 of them because people need to understand the main point of therapy is not every therapist works out. Just like Christopher just told you, he had to go through a bunch of them to find somebody that he landed on that he clicked with or he kind of connected with. And sometimes people aren't lucky. Like, I've gone through a couple myself. I don't like the way they were handling things. So that doesn't mean that they're wrong. It's just their approach doesn't work for me. And like Christopher as well, he was stating, he had to go through a bunch of them to find the ones that actually fit the way that, he felt like it was helping him versus not helping him. And that's the problem these days. Everybody is like, well, you're going to therapy, so that means you're crazy. No, it's not. It's okay to talk, guys. It's all right to tell people how you're feeling. If you're in danger, you feel you're in danger, let someone know. We can't help you if you don't say something. I mean, we can suggest something to you, but if you don't tell us there's a problem, we can't help you, or we can't help you find that the people to help you.
And that was one of the scariest things with my previous like suicide overdose attempts, that I often didn't tell anybody until after the fact because I was that determined and that hopeless.
Chris, that's when you say suicide. You want to give people a little more insight to what you were thinking at the time because when those kind of situations happen, a lot of people are like, well, I wonder what they were thinking at that time. And a lot of times we don't know what was wrong. A lot of times you can't tell when there's someone's thinking of that. And a lot of people just put on like what I could call a mask that shows that, oh hey, they look like everything's okay, and then next time that's it, they're gone, and then we're like, whoa, we could have helped you had we known there's a problem.
Yeah, I've had people say that to me, that I basically put on a mask. They wouldn't have known that it was coming until I told them after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get that completely. And I think the idea is that, people need to understand is that we don't know what people are thinking. One kind act could make somebody's day, change their mindset, things like that. Just saying like, hi, how are you doing? Have a great one.
Or
Things like
hold the
that
door
could
for somebody, or or just saying thank you or holding a door could literally, and I mean literally, change somebody's mind from leaving that store and going to end their life, because that could renew hope in them that people do care about them.
definitely, Chris. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. One act could cause a huge change in people, just like Christopher just said. And I think that's the craziest part of it all is that a lot of people don't realize the different things that people deal with on a daily basis. It's like we all have problems, guys. It's okay to tell somebody you have an issue. Like Christopher and I've got a support system where I can call any of these certain people. They know if I'm calling, it means that there's a problem. And I'm sure Christopher's got the same thing set up for himself as
I
well.
do have a very extensive safety plan, actually.
Exactly. And a lot of people when he's talking about a safety plan is exactly just that. It's okay, you're in a bad thought, you need to talk to somebody, activate your safety plan, and then you'll just go down the list and call people, and then you'll reach out to your safety people just to help you out with these kind of things.
But just want to add, it's also like coping skills and strategies, mechanisms, not just people. Like the
Okay.
biggest. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I think I
No,
missed
no,
what
you're
you
good.
said.
Go ahead. No, I agree with you. Go ahead and let them know.
So for me, like my safety plan is 6 steps. Step two is coping strategies, and that's the longest section. That's like almost like an entire printed page. And things that seem just regular and part of life, such as hygiene and upkeep of your home are actually considered self-care and can actually help keep us in a good frame of mind. And I've experienced that myself. Like when I simple things like taking a shower, brushing my teeth, like organizing my desk or my dresser can really boost me up with my emotional and mental well-being.
That's the thing too. It's just very simple things like Christopher just said: cleaning your house, organizing stuff. For all those collectors out there, organizing something of your collections, or go through and do all that kind of stuff. And it's just very simple things that don't seem like a lot, but they really mean more to you than you think.
And it can impact you more than you think as well, I want to add.
Facts, 100% facts. So, Chris, where are you at today, and where do you see yourself going?
Right now I'm in a pretty stable place through the grace of my higher power. Um, right now, like with my mental health recovery journey, I'm focused on maintaining the stability that I have through the ketamine treatments I'm doing, and using and just building on off of how far I've came to keep myself stable and keep myself from going off the deep end like I have in the past. And going forward, my hope is to potentially not need as much medication as I'm on. And I'm currently studying for my bachelor's in social work.
That's
So
awesome.
that's definitely my future. And I would ideally like to work my nonprofit and other social entrepreneurial ventures full time,
That'd be
and not
awesome.
to work my 9 to 5 indefinitely.
Well, that's great, man. It's awesome to hear that's what you're trying to get somewhere. And that's awesome. Social work would be perfect for you because you've been there. You know how a lot of this stuff goes. So I think relatability there is going to be ultra high for you because you have been in a lot of situations and you never know. You could connect to some of these people on a level that most people couldn't.
Yeah, in multiple departments too, like abuse, mental health, like systems. Like there's so many, not so many, but there's like definitely quite a few different areas of life that I've been affected by. And that's more than most people, and probably more than most professionals in this field as well. Like you said, Pete, that can cause relatability and connection.
Definitely. Hey, listen. Okay, so I know with social work, some people specialize in certain areas, like some things like anxiety, relating to kids and things like that. What areas are you focusing on?
I'm still in the early phases of my bachelor's degree in social work, but at this current juncture, I'm eyeing two potential areas. One is hospice palliative care, because I really feel like I'm called to the end of life care. And the second one is potentially working with autistic kids, doing play therapy, and doing like family counseling through that.
That's amazing. And I know with autism, it's a little harder when you have to deal with people that have autism because you have to approach it differently than normal people. I know one of my people I talk to can come into where I work now. She said she has a son with Asperger's, and I'm trying to get her coming on and sharing a little bit of her experience of like what it's really like because I don't feel like enough people know exactly what that is.
They
So,
don't. There's a saying that if you know somebody or have somebody who is on the autism spectrum, that you can spot it like in with your eagle eye in others who you don't know.
that's pretty true. Um, what other things can people do with like autism and things like that? Just to make them feel more comfortable. So if you interact with someone and you find out like, is there a way they should better interact with them that way they don't upset anybody and they don't seem like they're so standoffish?
That's such an amazing question. I'm so grateful you asked that, Pete. I think what I'm gonna say next can really have an impact. one thing to keep in mind is no two people on the autism spectrum or in life in general are the same. But some major themes with autism are overstimulation. So that can be mitigated by, like, first off, like, if somebody's on the spectrum or you suspect they are, you want to be simple and just not come off in a way that doesn't overwhelm, overstimulate. Like, don't use physical touch unless you know that that person handles it okay, because a lot of people on the spectrum don't do well with physical touch. I would add simple words, direct, since folks on the spectrum sometimes struggle with perception. I would also say, like, the simpler the better, and the calmer the better. You want to keep yourself calm, cool, and collected when dealing with those on the spectrum, and give them options. Try to keep them in control of, and by options, and to the extent that is best for their abilities and functioning, and embrace them and their strengths and what they bring to the table, as well as their special interests. As
Yeah,
people on the
exactly.
spectrum sometimes have very specific interests that they're passionate about, and that would be something to go into to build a connection with them from the get go.
That's awesome. Like I said, all that information is really great because I believe this young gentleman I deal with, he comes in, real nice kid named Gary. Love him. Big baseball fanatic. Like I'm talking huge baseball fanatic. He plays baseball, and there's actually a local team that we plays in our town. That his mom had been talking about the organization that works with other people with special needs like him, that they play baseball and stuff together. So now the team and them are going to team up and let the guys come play and help them out and interact with the team and everything. So I thought that was great.
That's beautiful. That just epitomizes the community coming together to support and validate those with different needs.
And exactly. And it makes them feel like a normal person. That way they don't feel different than everybody else. And they get to do something they love, like play baseball or, whatever else you like to do. Collect comic books, collect pops, play video games, things like that. That's just really great for them in general. Because, I don't feel like people do enough these days. And I think that now that when I heard that, I was like, that's amazing. She went all the way out of her way just to fight for him. And she has her own dreams. She wants to like open a little center basically in town where people with other needs just like him can go and learn how to be codependent without having to rely on everybody to do everything for them.
Now, her just being so visionary and so, like, ambitious and, like, strong-willed for the special needs population just gives me hope. Gives me just encouragement in how we can and will do great and big things for those who are less fortunate.
Definitely.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Richard. And together, we are the Stay Off My Lawn Show and Podcast.
And together we tackle the important political issues from the week.
We'll also have smart and maybe not so smart audio clips from our elected officials.
And have way too much fun in the process.
So tune in to Stay Off My Lawn every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Right here on the Oracle Talk Radio Network.
In the Know with Jenny Nicasio, your home for pop culture and trending topics from all over the United States. All with commentary from your favorite host, Jenny Nicasio. Tune in Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network.
So, Chris, let's dig into you a little bit more. So, do you have any hobbies or things you like to do in your free time?
I really enjoy, like, checking out, like, exploring new eateries, like new restaurants, trying new places. I enjoy spending time exploring nature, exploring parks and gardens, like meditating in nature. and I'm very big on self care, like
And that's
prioritizing my self care, like when I have time to do that exclusively, not in addition to regularly.
yeah, that's awesome. Any kind of eateries you like that you tried recently, or any kind of type of cuisine that you've tried that you really like?
There's a place that I haven't been to in like a few years or so. It's like a brewery slash like barbecue restaurant,
Okay.
and I had a brisket sandwich with mac and cheese and French fries, and it was like so good.
Oh
I was
man,
in
that doesn't sound pretty good though.
like food heaven.
That's awesome. So, I was gonna ask you, is there any special lady in your life?
I'm not at this time,
Okay.
and I
Well,
am
about that.
if that comes down the road, um, that would be a true privilege and honor. But I'm trying not to like push for it too hard. But at the same time, I do need to remind myself that it's not going to just happen if I don't put effort into it.
Yeah, man, and that's the hardest thing. Um, I'm 40. Just give you a perspective. Me and my wife met 2 years ago, and before that, I was with somebody for like 15 years. So I took like a 5 year break in between there, man. And let me tell you, the dating scene is ugly. Like I could tell you some crazy stories of some things that happen and stuff like that. And listen, man, there's somebody out there for everybody. So don't give up hope. I mean, just keep doing you. Keep working on where you're trying to get to, and I'm sure God will has a plan. He'll put somebody in your path. He'll guide you that way, and like I said, you don't have to rush it. Just kind of worry about doing you, and then you never
And
know.
I believe it. And I believe it that if it's his will, he'll find a way.
Exactly. And listen, if you do find that special lady, I want to know so I can amp you up.
Well, I will definitely keep you in the loop.
Definitely. There you go. Because you have all my information, so we can keep in touch for sure.
Yeah, I would
Because,
love to
like
keep
I
in
said, I
touch.
want to know how
Actually.
the organization, everything are going, and all that kind of stuff. That way, I can keep in touch.
Yeah, keeping in touch is something that I really value and that I strive for when it comes to guesting on podcasts and having guests on my podcast. I look to build a personal and professional relationship going forward with the folks, not just speak and then it be over kind of thing.
Listen, it's funny you say that because I actually been do corresponding with an international bestseller who does like shadow working and stuff like that. Her name's Melissa Corder. She's coming back onto the show where I have a weekly one that's coming up starting the 9th. She's actually coming back to talk to us more about another subject and stuff, but it was phenomenal, man. I keep in touch with her. And my first guest, his episode's going to drop on 9/10, the day after the radio premieres. His name's Mark. Mark is a 63-year-old man. I believe he said he somewhere outside of England is where he was. He deals with PTSD, and Mark's story got really interesting. But I also have a great follow up. We've asked his wife about coming out and talking about what it's like to be on the other side of PTSD and what she had to deal with as Mark was trying to travel to get to where he's at now. And it's really great because he does karate and he's got a goal of, using karate to help people's anxiety levels and things like that and teach them how to better refocus in their mind and stuff like that too. So we'll definitely may have to get him in here one time and of all three of us just start kind of chatting up about it and bring a little more awareness to his organization.
Yeah, I'm all for collaboration
Oh,
and and lifting others up in the process.
well, you know what? It's funny you say that because I have a couple other ones that I'm working on right now. I think one of them she said it's with an abuse, like she deals with people with the after effects, abuse, or coming out of recovery. Hold on, checking my notes really fast. Give me a second here, Mark. I'm going to pull it up for you. The foundation is called the Lodge at Delray Beach, and basically what it is like it's a recovery home basically for other people that are coming off drug addictions and things like that. I'm in discussions with her right now about doing a collab. So we're going to try and figure something out. She's going to come on the actual show, and I believe she's scheduled to come on the 28th. I'm checking my notes right now. Yeah, the 28th. She'll be on October 28th, and she's going to talk more about this, her cause, and everything else. And, and I'm big on collabing. So if you know somebody out there, you want to get your voice out there, I'm going to be on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. We're going to be reaching as many voices as possible, and many ears, many people, many nations, everything we can.
Yeah, that brings me to the thought that this is a global mission. Like, and if this education and lived experiences of us collectively can reach third world nations, like that just could have such a rippling impact on society.
Listen, I'll tell you this much. My voice has reached Sydney, Australia. I just got a confirmation morning from a gentleman named Patrick. He's going to be on, I think, the 13th. We're getting together to record. And he's all the way in Sydney, Australia. So, guys, this thing is going far. I've been to England, Scotland, Canada, now Sydney. It's insane. And then, Chris, I'm not sure where you're at, but I'm over here
I'm in
in
New York
Texas.
City.
Where you at?
New York City.
Hey, we're all the way in New York City now, too. See, look, we're going coast to coast. So, and that's the great thing, guys. That's all it is one average Joe trying to make a world a different place and spread the message that we're all the same. We all have problems and create that a safe space where we can talk. Um, Chris, I have a Facebook group for the podcast. If you'd like to join, go right ahead. That way you can share some of your profit and everything else like that, so everybody else can have the information in case they're interested in helping out too.
I would love to join, and I definitely will, and I will post in it and share as well.
Yeah, definitely. We're about 8 members strong right now, but we're gonna grow. It's okay. I know we'll get there. I'm also available on
Those
Instagram.
8 members, I'm sure, are when it starts small, that small founding group can often be can have a huge impact on each other, and that can and that can have an impact on the growth.
And you're right. Actually, one of the members I could tell you is actually one of the people that have already pre-recorded with me. Her name's Liz. She's from Scotland. Phenomenal woman, and she wants to come back on again. So we're trying to figure out what date she's going to come back on and come talk to us some more. But she's in there, and, and that's the thing. It's not just you, me. It's professionals like Liz and my station manager that runs the Oracle Talk Network. He's in there as well, and then a lot of other people. And that's the great thing is that we all can come together as different individuals from different walks of life for one powerful message, and that is to create that safe space.
That safe space is needed now more than ever with the direction the world is taking. I feel like.
Definitely. I agree with you on that one 100%. So you have anything planned in the future?
I'm about to start a job
Okay.
for the
Where you got?
state
Where at?
I'm going. It's a
Oh,
state government job where I'm going to be supporting those with developmental disabilities as a pure support specialist.
oh, that's awesome, man. Are you
So
excited? I bet
that,
you're excited about that.
yeah, I'm stoked. It's just a confirmation that when you're patient and you trust in the process of life, that things can and will improve and turn around for you.
Right. I agree, man. And that's awesome. You got to keep me updated on how that job goes too, because that
No.
sounds amazing.
And that, just my nonprofit, trying to get my nonprofit more visible and trying to launch that more so, and just some book stuff. And
Ooh, wait, hold up. You just said book stuff. What kind of book?
I have a book that I took off of Amazon that I'm going to be like revising and republishing, and that is on domestic violence. And I'm also writing a chapter in a book anthology on neurodivergence.
That's awesome. So, any idea when the book's supposed to come out?
My book, I don't have a date yet. I'm going to be relaunching it strategically.
Mm-hmm.
But a book anthology that I'm part of, I believe that is launching on December 1st, and it's called Seek the Heart.
And where can
And
they get it? Is it like going to be available on Amazon, or is it going to be like paperback stuff like that?
I online, from my understanding, and print might be print on demand. I'm not sure if it's going to be in stores or not.
Well, then you definitely have to keep me posted so I can let everybody know what's going on with that for sure.
I
Um,
definitely will.
I know Melissa said she had a new book coming out in 2025. Listen, if it makes it print, listen, I wouldn't be objected to a signed copy, so I could say I knew you before you got big.
That I will definitely provide, especially
I listen.
for my book. When I relaunch my personal book, you'll definitely get a signed copy.
It
You can
sounds
put up
amazing.
on the
Listen, I'm
wall
gonna.
in your office.
I have a special case for it too, by the way, Chris, in my living room. It's a china cabinet. I keep all my things that are very close to me. I have my signed Dragon Ball Z pops in there. Yes, super nerd here. But
You
it'll
can get a
definitely be
signed
right in there.
copy,
Yep. Heck yeah,
and
that's
that
what I'm
just gives
talking
me the
about.
motivation to get started now.
Well, I
Now that
appreciate
I owe
that,
you
man.
a
Like I
signed
said,
copy, that gives me the more motivation to get the ball start rolling.
that's right. That's what I'm saying, man. Listen, I want to be the first one to be like, hey, I knew Chris before he got big. He's still the same person.
And that's the thing, when we get big and go from the minors to the majors, as I say, keeping humble is often hard, but so well worth it.
Yeah, I agree. And that was the thing when I sat down with Melissa. Totally chill. Like for an international bestseller, you weren't really sure what you're walking into that conversation, but oh my god, dude, it was great. She was really cool, really mellow, very knowledgeable on her subject, obviously, because you know. And then she hinted at the new book, and I was like, "Ooh, new book? Okay, okay." So, you got anything going on for the nonprofit coming up soon, or is that kind of still in the works?
That like I am getting the word out there about it, and something. And with the nonprofit, I've been taking a emphasis on mental health with it. So I do have something big coming.
Ooh,
The
okay, here he goes.
ketamine,
Look, I knew he
the
had something.
ketamine therapy that I did was publicly documented by the clinic, and they're going to be producing it as a in video form to help break down stigma and bring personalness and hope to
Oh yeah,
others to hopefully take the leap as well. And I would
you know,
like to shout out the clinic if you don't mind.
go right ahead, bud. Let him know.
The ketamine clinic is called Vital IV and Ketamine Infusions. They are located in Montclair and Chatham, New Jersey. And they've transformed my life, literally, through this ketamine treatment. And I just couldn't not shout them out because there is hope at the end of the tunnel. And I just felt that with the help I've gotten, I want others to be aware of them and be able to possibly get the help they need as well.
And that's
Because
great, man.
when two or more are in this good place, then potential is infinite.
It is exactly that is a powerful statement. Potential is infinite, and you know, like Chris is telling you, maybe give it a shot, see what happens. Maybe it might work for you, it might not. But Chris, I have somebody for you to link up with. One of my guests, Victoria, she works for a group that does nonprofit as well over there in Canada. I'll reach out to her and see what she thinks. You know, give me all the info on it, yours, and maybe we can link up with her. She's a fantastic young lady. She was actually on the show too. She's actually doing pageantry in Canada, and you know, it's different than when people think here. The normal stereotype is that it's a beauty pageant. She said it's more like a fashion thing where people sponsor different people to wear their clothes and stuff like that. but she works closely with a nonprofit as well. I'm trying to remember what the name exactly it is. If not, I'll definitely email it to you because
Yeah,
she was
definitely
do
make
working on
that
something.
connection.
Definitely. Like I said, if you give me all the information, I will definitely pass it along and see what she thinks. Maybe you guys can link up and we can get something going.
I'm definitely open for that. Like, and I'm definitely open to possibilities, and I feel like you need to be open. I feel like if you're open minded to the potentials in the future, then we're already like a third there to where we want to be.
Exactly. And like I said, man, I think maybe y'all could be great for each other. We'll see. We'll send her some information, see what she thinks, and see what she thinks about trying to help you out because she was working on a world summit type thing where they could talk to politicians in their country and stuff like that. And she's real young. She's 25. And this girl's gonna motivate it. Like, don't get me wrong, for 25, this girl is way beyond her years. She wants to get out there, get her voice heard, and she's trying to fight for her generation to be the same way as well. That way, she's like, you're never too young to get started. Just like you're saying, you're never too soon to start. Just like this
Right,
podcast.
never too old to get started either. There's people. There's somebody who became a medical doctor in their 50s, and there's
Hmm.
people who get their first college degree in their 70s.
Exactly. And, that's a powerful thing. It's like, don't give up. You're never too old. I started this podcast a year ago. It was originally a different concept, didn't stick, and I switched to this concept. Holy crap, man! Like, boom! Like, you're like one of 21 people responses that I have. I have about 19 more out, and I've had just keep getting more and more every day. So it's like, it's all coming so quick, and it's crazy how fast this thing takes off, and all these other people want to collab, and I'm like, let's go, let's get this message out there.
You're gonna
I'm actually showing up on a podcast 99. It's called Podcast Nation. They're gonna have me come on and share the story about how this whole thing even got started.
Oh wow, that's gonna be such great exposure for you and your organization, Pete.
Definitely, man. Like I said, it's the whole thing is just get the message out there, and I think between that and the Oracle Talk Radio Network, we're gonna get there pretty far. Because that's the whole idea. It's just getting the message out there, collecting people together that all agree, and then us just networking so we can come together, be stronger as a unit. Just like Martin Luther King stood up for what he believed in. He was one man, one vision, but everybody else that resonated with him was right there with him, but he had to start on his own. And, think about it. Malcolm X, there's Rosa Parks, all these different people did different things because they were just one person with one thought, just like I am. I'm got to start somewhere. I have one thought, and then if it turns out that many people agree with the same thing that I do, like Christopher, Liz, and I'll also, Victoria, and I had another woman. She was 13 years. She's a 13-year LCS. And her name's Corey Woodhouse. She was actually my second guest on the show, and we had a great conversation too. And like I said, that's the great thing about this. It's like I'm meeting new people every day, different walks of life, different experiences. I believe tomorrow I'm meeting with a tile master, and I'm very curious about that because I have no idea what any of that means, but I am very fascinated.
What are they, a towel master?
Yes, he's a tile master. I'm trying to pull my notes really fast.
Just
I got
that
plenty of notes,
title within
man.
itself sounds very fascinating.
Yeah. Oh no, trust me. I am trying to pull up this sheet right now, so you can read. I can read out some of what his stuff is. He's a tile master, a sage, speaker, business coach, and empath. I think I'm saying that right. But he basically has studied Buddhist monks, Catholic exorcists, shaman, Shaolin monks, and Tao masters. So this is going to be an interesting conversation. He also has an extensive traditional Chinese medicine, Tao, yoga, kung fu, Qigong, if I'm saying that right, and Tai Chi. So this guy's really going to be interesting. His name is he goes by Andrew, but I'm not really sure how you pronounce what name he has listed on here. But I know me and him have been corresponding as his name is Andrew, but he'll be on tomorrow. Um, and he's going to tell us all about that because I'm curious. Like, I want to know more. Like this guy's got a lot of experience, and that's the great thing about this podcast is that I'm getting to meet new people every day from different walks of life, different thought processes. The way it works is that we can connect you. So if maybe Andrew resonates with you and he's something he does that you like. Okay, well, he'll tell you exactly where to find him, just like Chris is going to tell us where we can find him and his nonprofit and everything else. And then we're going to try and make sure we keep getting some noise out there for him too.
Then that is
but
really appreciated.
definitely, man. Like I said, this is not just about me. This is about everybody. This is about different people getting together and trying to spread the message of that we're together as a unified force. So, Chris, why don't you tell everybody where to find your nonprofit?
I have a centralized link page that has all my links to my socials, my media related accounts, and my website, etc. And I will give that to you.
Definitely. And I'll include it in the description of this episode so that way you all can get it. And basically, everything like that we can reach out to Chris and show some support for that non-support that he's working on so hard. Let him know, hey, man, we like what you're doing. Let's keep it going. What can I do to help?
Also add that aside from that link, I also have my cell phone, which is 718-883-0004. Again, 718-883-0004. That can be texted or called at any time. And my email, which is my last name, B as in boy, IRSTLER @gmail.com. And when emailing me, I put subject from victim to victor, so I know it's related to the work that I do.
And that's amazing, man. Like I said, you heard him. Here's how you find him. And like I said, I'm going to include in this description of this episode, if you weren't here for the live portion of it, I'm going to list you how to get hold of Chris, how to get hold of his organization, I'm sorry. What is it again? One time? I'm sorry.
You're fine. Don't worry about it. From victim to Victor Incorporated.
There you go. From victim to Victor. There you go. I got my V's all mixed up on that one. But yeah, definitely. That way you can find his organization. And like I said, I'm going to be doing some other collaborations and then, and I'll be listing his under there with everything else. That way we can get him out there with everybody else, stuff like that. And then we just keep growing this thing, keep networking, bringing all their organizations together, different views, different things people do, stuff like that. That way we can make a powerful message as one unified unit. We can call ourselves the Avengers if, Chris wants. It's okay. As long as I'm Captain America, I don't really care, honestly.
And if you want to be Captain America, you will be Captain America, Pete.
It's like you can have the role. Don't worry, man. I'm like, okay. Well, okay, Chris. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this episode of Pete versus Anxiety. Chris, it was a phenomenal time talking to you. Definitely, we are going to link up so we can keep in touch and talk about more about different things coming up. And like I said, I will definitely reach out to Victoria's organization and see what she thinks about what she may be able to help you to do. Get your message out there in Canada and all that other kind of stuff, things like that.
I really appreciate it, and I'm just so grateful that we had the opportunity to connect on such a deep and profound level today, Pete.
Definitely, but like I said, guys, you knew where to find me. I'm on TikTok at Pete versus Anxiety Podcast. I'm also on Instagram at Pete_versus_anxiety. And you can also join my Facebook group at Pete versus Anxiety Podcast. You're more than welcome to join. You want to come in. The only rule is that you cannot be negative. There's no need for negativity there. We're completely positive. We're there to support each other. And if you want to be on the show, just reach out to me and any of those kind of things. I'm sure I got a Facebook post somewhere with something, just let me know. I want to hear your story. I have tons of people emailing me. All right, Chris. Well, I'm going to sign off here. It was great meeting you. We'll keep in touch for sure. Until next
Likewise.
time. And Chris, you want to say bye to everybody?
Thank you everyone for listening, and I wish you all the best. And to Pete, thank you for having me, and I look forward to continuing this journey together with you
Definitely,
all.
man. Like I said, guys, this has been another exciting episode of Pete versus Anxiety. I appreciate you all listening. Go ahead and give it a follow, like, share, tell your friends about it. If you know somebody has mental health issues that needs a safe space and needs some support, come on, join us the Facebook group. You know, that's where Chris will be. I'm there. And Victoria, Liz, and a bunch of other people that have already been on this show. And that's the great thing about it, guys. But just remember one thing. It only costs zero, absolutely zero, to be kind to somebody, because that one kind act could save somebody's life. Until next time, guys, this is Pete signing off. Thank you.
Bookish Podcast, hosted by Emma Saylor, is a unique look at all things literature and is your radio book club. Read along as Emma takes us through discussions of her books of the month, and you can chime in and give your feedback as well. Tune in Tuesdays at 3:30 p.m., only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. The Chasing Prophecy Radio Show, where we discuss everything and anything beyond the scope of normal. Hosted by Jenny Nicasio and Tom Conway, Chasing Prophecy is your premier destination for all things paranormal. Tune in Thursdays at 8 p.m., only on the Oracle Talk Radio Network.